Good afternoon, Lincoln. How are you?
Hello, my friend. How are you? Yeah, this is great. Really looking forward to this one. Metrics, message, and motive. Brilliant.
Thank you for this first session. And as you know, we have been doing these sprints together, and I'm delighted to be talking again. And a very apt topic as a sales sage once said that if you can't measure it, you can't really succeed. So I think to that point, a very relevant topic. And let's just get right into it.
Sure.
So if I were to kind of kickstart the session and talk about when it comes to partner GTM, specifically in terms of measurement, what kind of success metrics do you think matter the most?
Yeah, that's a great question and a good starting point. Look, here's what I look at: revenue influenced versus attributed influence. You need both to see that true impact. You really do. Um, Number two, probably partner activation velocity, i.e., how fast partners go from onboarded to first lead and first deal. That velocity, especially in business, especially in partnerships, is something that sometimes sorely lacks. And business leaders, organizations, partners, colleagues will all be looking for. Velocity is absolutely key. Engagement index is good, enable partner participations, certifications, deal reg activity is always a good thing to keep an eye on and to measure. And I think, lastly, renewal and retention of partner sourced customers. Um, as you said earlier on, if you can't measure it, you can't scale it. And great partner go-to-markets need that scoreboard clarity.
Sure. And we will come to that in a bit, but I specifically wanted to pick your brains on, for example, how do you go about, uh, especially when you are a new brand, uh, how important is the brand presence when it comes to new geography? So I'm a new startup wanting to launch in the European market. How important do you think the brand presence itself is? And obviously, if it is important, then how do you go about building that?
Hugely important, especially in new markets. If people can't see it, then they're very unlikely to trust it. And here's why. I think that localized credibility wins trust. Think case studies and compliance signals. That again, time to value and that velocity needs to be augmented through things like surrounding your partners and customers with social proof. Huge, absolutely massive. Um, Brand gravity attracts partners. So if you have a really strong presence and a really strong brand, a great reputation for doing a really good job and providing loads of value, that strong presence makes it much easier to recruit partners because they'll want to be a part of what you're creating. You'll instead of chasing, you'll be attracting, which is exactly the holy grail of partnering, especially in a go-to-market motion. And I think co-marketing visibility gives partners confidence to convert. You're not just selling tech per se, you're transferring that trust. And a great brand fuels that. We see that, every single day.
In the consumer space, I'm sure you are aware, there's this always has been this holy grail called personalization. When it comes to B2B, and especially in partnering space, how important do you think is personalization? And in one way, you could also call it segmentation. How important do you think? And how is that important to improve partner experience?
Yeah, no, it's everything. Differentiation these days is becoming harder and harder. There are a lot more options out there for both customers in a B2C environment and partners in a B2B environment. So we've got a saying, speak to me, not we. So making sure that your initiatives are personalized, that you're not using a blanket approach, using things like modularity to create choice, and you're using diversity and cadence, which is really, really important so that you're building an inclusive environment that again attracts. It can be a real game changer. Um, if you want to say you want to segment by capability and value change role. chain role, for example, not just industry. Tailoring enablement and incentives by partner maturity is huge. If you use a blanket approach to partner incentivization, for example, then and you're not prioritizing those high level partners who are driving you some fantastic opportunities, then they're going to feel a little bit left out for their efforts, especially when they find out that another partner may not be providing you with those kind of opportunities as well. So tailored enablement and incentives are really important. I think drive if you want to drive better engagement, higher PX equals higher LTV and CLTV as well, customer lifetime value. They both go hand in hand. One size fits all is the fastest way to lose your best fit partners.
Got it. And since you spoke about incentives and incentivization during this discussion, let me kind of pick the thread from there. Uh, as you know, incentives obviously drive behavior, whether it is in sales. Uh, Let me ask you how important they are in terms of driving the partner behavior.
It's the same principle speak to we, not me. It's the famous Charlie Munger quote, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. And it's so very, very true. Incentives shape behavior. And the best ones that I've seen really are threefold. They're outcome aligned. Things like fast lane support and pilot access and warm leads, really, again, helping with that velocity that we're speaking about. They're milestone based, tiered rewards for progressing through go-to-market stages, for example, can work really, really well and be a great motivation. You're almost gamifying the process, which people love. It's a fantastic post-adoption engagement strategy. And a mix of monetary and strategic, I think, also works really well. So think MDF, roadmap, map access, co-sell initiatives. Cash motivates, but strategic incentives elevate performance.
Sure. Uh, and from a deliverable perspective, what kind of deliverables define the success when it comes to the ecosystem-led GTM growth? So, what kind of deliverables would you think would kind of define success there?
Yeah, 100%. Ecosystem go-to-market isn't just about reach. It's about reciprocal value. That value-led approach is everything, especially in medium and long-term partner initiatives, and especially in go-to-market. I guess these are the key deliverables for me would be joint value proposition and co-sell narratives. Very, very important, especially at the beginning of those motions. Shared pipeline or account mapping outcomes is also great. Again, it provides that transparency that partners and clients need to see. Again, you've got to see it to be it. Activated co-marketing assets with trackable impact is also a big one. And I'd say ecosystem source pipeline growth quarter over quarter. Again, got to see it to be it. Got to be transparent. Got to speak the language of leadership, so that there's no surprises and you're managing those expectations, which is absolutely huge. We say this quite a lot, especially in the indirect selling space, that your deliverables must prove that 1 and 1 equal 3. That has to be basic ecosystem maths.
So as a corollary to that, what metrics do you feel matter the most when it comes to tracking the success of your GTM motion with partners?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think we advise into organizations all the time to do a lot of external KPI tracking because generally they're outcome based. Whereas I see a lot of people do track internal KPIs, which don't necessarily tell you the full picture and what's going on. And sometimes they're quite difficult to track. So, traditional KPIs don't always capture ecosystem value per se. I think the ones you want to watch are partner sourced pipeline velocity. Again, we go back to velocity. Is it increasing month by month? Fantastic way to see how track how your initiatives are doing. Influence ratio is also a big one. How many deals touched ecosystem partners is very important. Attribution blend be another one, i.e., how much pipeline comes from collaborative motions. Really important. Pipeline no margin, no motion. So really, really important. And time to value, that TTV, as we spoke about earlier on, from joint campaign launch to first revenue here. When is that time to revenue? Where is that first time to revenue? How long was it? How can it be improved with the next motion? If you want executive buy-in for ecosystem-led growth and go-to-market motions, show momentum, not just effort.
Sure. On that, just one last question before we go to our rapid fire. Uh, have you seen like a range of starting of the GTM motion to the first ROI starting to kick in? Do you see a range there? And is there any standard industry benchmarks around that, or does it
Yeah,
vary from segment to segment?
yeah, it does. It varies and varies on vertical to vertical as well. It really does. It's always sort of driven by culture. It's driven by strategy, vertical, life cycle maturity or organizational maturity as well. Resources. Yeah, it's driven by. There's a lot of. We had a pilot program we ran where that was in an organization doing 9 billion ARR, and their first time to value from that particular motion was 9 weeks. Then again,
Wow.
we worked with somebody else who we had time to first deal in. It was just on 4 weeks, I think. So it really does depend. But yeah, always comes back to that strategic foundation of vision and goal alignment and business alignment, which then can translate to those enablements, which then enable those partners to again increase that time to value.
Awesome. Great. We come to our rapid fire round
Excellent.
as we call it, and let me start there. So best signal a partner is ready for a joint GTM.
Yeah, they start putting you into deals unprompted.
Great. Most overlooked GTM asset when it comes to the partner motion.
Customer stories, again, we're going back to those surrounding clients and partners with social proof. Partners especially need proof, not just debt.
And the best activation milestone.
Time to first co-sell, 100%, not time to signature.
The best actionable ecosystem KPI.
Partner influenced win rate, 100%. It reveals that very true go-to-market lift.
One metrics ecosystems often miss.
Partner influence on expansion deals is always one that is quite often overlooked because it can sometimes be difficult to measure, but it can be done.
And finally, what do you think is just that one red flag when it comes to early stage partner GTM?
And they're asking you for leads before offering any value, 100%.
Very nice. Awesome. That was very cool, Lincoln. I think as we wrap up, some thoughts from you in terms of especially measurable KPIs and what does success look, or what should success look to the both the parties. Just some parting thoughts there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're seeing it a lot more in our service offers and verticals and supply and demand areas as well, especially when it comes to go-to-market truths. Execution matters more than intent. I think the right metrics tell the story. The right brand builds trust. Smart segmentation deepens that value. And I think strategic incentives turn partners into performance engines. And that's really what we're trying to do, especially with ecosystem-led go-to-market motions, is build that value flywheel. Make sure that you're providing that value that is expected and unexpected so that you're managing expectations really well. Everybody can see where they're going and where they've come from. And you're executing, you're showing your work, and you're proving your value by creating those results.
Awesome. That was great, Lincoln, and loved the fourth session. I think as we start wrapping up these series, what we should probably also do is look at how can we also talk about next time about our joint value proposition and
Mm.
talk to our listeners about what we can do together. So I'm really looking forward for the next session. And for now, good day, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to that too. I think there's a lot there to offer, and again, I think it will be very easy to prove. Yeah, thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it, Anuj. I so enjoy these chats. Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.